Welcome to Slash Forward. In this episode, we're continuing on with the well-regarded classic Carnival of Souls. If the cancellation of Halloween has you residing somewhere between life and death, subscribe to the channel for some spooky fun. Let's get to it. We open on a classic teen drag race, complete with multiple tight turns. Like a drag race, they top out at nearly 45 miles per hour, resulting in an instantaneous catastrophic malfunction. The silty water proves reluctant to reveal its secrets as the police try but fail to fish out the ladies. Before long, the local boys club shows up and spies Mary, the sole survivor, climbing to dry land after her 3-hour swim. She's bundled up and taken into town. The others are never found. Soon enough, she's back to cranking on that organ, making work unbearable for those around her. With her final practice now behind her, she's off to pursue a career in organism, and her mentor wishes her luck.
Thank you, but I'm never coming back.
Oh, it's like that? She hits the road and drives, hallucinates, drives and hallucinates herself clean off the road. She gets back on and stops at the next station. The attendant lets her know the building out yonder is an old abandoned pavilion where they used to have carnivals and such. Her boarding house is just up the road. She arrives shortly and makes the acquaintance of Ms. Thomas, her house mother, and continues to be haunted. The next day she becomes familiar with her new work environment, immediately hopping on that organ, much to the minister's delight. After a bit of playing, she goes for some fresh air. Their errand takes them past the pavilion, where she requests they go randonauting for some spooky fun. But the minister respects the rule of law, so they head out instead. Later on, there's a knock at Mary's door. It's old John Linden, her neighbor, come to throw her a bone and pressure her into eating with him. She, however, proves to be immune to peer pressure. After he leaves, she checks the hall and has her most corporeal hallucination yet. And when she questions Ms. Thomas, we get confirmation that no one was actually there. Mary then suffers through a sleepless night as the pavilion calls out to her. The next morning, Johnny has a much more cordial visit, bringing Mary some coffee. Of course, he pulls the old Lindy Delight, offering to get her day drunk to make his presence more bearable, as the ladies prefer. She declines, but seems to like him a little for some reason. She then goes to a dress fitting, shows a little elbow, and then things go wavy for us. When she emerges, Mary seems to be invisible to the broader world, and everything is oppressively silent. The world comes back to life just in time to make the nearby men believe her to be hysterical. Luckily, she's swooned right into the arms of a doctor who's more than willing to help. He attributes this all to her imaginative capacity, believing it to be a manifestation of guilt that comes from not desiring to participate in normal social activities. Her plan, strong-willed as she is to force this nonsense out of her brain, possibly by visiting the pavilion to kill the fear it generates. She goes immediately to partake in an urban exploration adventure, and has a mostly uneventful visit despite all the bodies around. Back home, Lyndon expresses his desperation for company. She acknowledges that she tends to run hot or cold, as is her prerogative, but agrees some companionship would be nice and plans to meet him after her shift. When she gets to work, she goes into a fugue state, marveling as her hands dance across the keys as if by their own accord, creating a somber and ethereal melody of the dead. The song is deemed profane by the minister. He states the church can't afford another soulless heathen as their organist, and demands her resignation. But Jesus still loves you. This puts her back in a foul mood for her date, and Johnny becomes annoyed that the woman he badgered into hanging with him doesn't also behave in the way he prefers. He gets his act together and manages to guilt her into liking him a little. She attempts to repair his fragile ego, but his preference is that you show it. And again, the desperation creeps in. This, mixed with the stench of his sour, alcohol-stained breath burning her nostrils, makes his presence unbearable. She's then touched by another vision, and at the first sign of trouble, old Johnny gives up and bolts, surprising no one. The doctor comes calling the next morning and breaks HIPAA rules by sharing his diagnosis with Ms. Thomas. And that girl's strange, and no one wants her around. But that's okay because she's planning on leaving. Unfortunately, her transmission forces her into a nearby shop.
Will it take long?
No, transmissions are easy. While waiting, she finds herself invisible again, wandering the downtown shopping district. She attempts to get away but finds escape impossible wherever she goes. It eventually passes and she visits the doctor, who suggests that she doesn't belong in the world. Except it's not him, and she wakes up back in her car. She peels out of there and drives to the pavilion, where the souls emerge from the murky depths and engage in some sort of a carnival. Seeing how fun it is, she screams and runs off. The carnies give chase and eventually catch her on the beach, where we transition to an investigator finding evidence of the pursuit leading to where she apparently disappeared. While back at the river, they finally find and remove the car, revealing it to contain all of the bodies. And we carry on. This one is an actual classic and even has a Criterion Collection release, so you should check it out if you get a chance. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love for you to become a part of the channel by subscribing. Thanks for watching.